You look at the camera. Or you want to look at me?
Probably you.
Okay.
What's it look like, Naomi, if I look at her?
Just
looks like you're looking up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
You're putting on makeup.
Okay, I want.
Side profile's not very good. I got a big head, you know what I mean? You gotta keep focused on the baby blues.
Alright, ready?
Yeah.
When did you first arrive in Korea, and what was your first impression?
I came to Korea in January 2003. It was really gray. That was really gray, and not a lot of people were smiling. I thought people used to eat lemons for breakfast. I used to call it everybody with lemon heads. I thought they were all lemon heads. They eat lemons. And just gray. I'm coming from Canada, so everything's green. So I just right away I realized my favorite color is green.
What made you decide to come to Korea?
Just a job teaching English. They came to our university recruiting people for Japan or Korea, and I heard that Korea was cheaper price of living, so I decided to come here. I didn't know what I was getting into. I just jumped on a plane and just escaped Canada for a few years.
Well, then I read about the agreement with Janice and Groove magazine about her quitting smoking and you trying, getting on stage. Like, how did that get in the picture? Because I read that your first gig was in Anyang, right?
Yeah, my wife, Janice, who was my girlfriend at the time, she begged me if she quit smoking for a month, I'd have to jump up on stage because I always wanted to do comedy, and I just didn't have the balls basically. And she gave me that little push. She quit smoking, I jumped up there, and I've been doing it ever since. My first time was pretty horrific. I did like 10 minutes when I really only had about 3 jokes to a room full of about 100 drunk people. But whatever, I got over that initial fear. Once I got over the fear, I was fine.
Well, what was the stand-up scene like? Because that was like, what, November 2005?
Yeah, there was none. It was just me. There was a lot of musical mics, and there was a couple of like sketch groups and improv groups, but there was no real stand-up comedy. So I started going around to all the musical mics, quiz nights, wherever I could get a mic. Just a comedy whore, basically. So I just went everywhere, and then eventually started some rooms.
Yeah, I know that you started stand-up soul in November 2009. There seems to be a big gap between when you first started and stand-up soul.
Yeah, because like I said, after I started getting on the mic myself, I started finding other people who wanted to do it. I got better as a comic. When I felt I was able to host a room properly, I gave it a try. Other people slowly started coming out because it is an open mic event. And slowly more and more people came and we built it up, and now there's a proper scene here. It's pretty cool.
So that's what inspired stand-up soul, basically?
Yeah, just I thought, there had to be more people out there like me. I mean, here I was just a guy who never told jokes before. I'm sure there's lots of other people, and apparently there are.
Why only once a month, first Thursday?
I thought honestly that was all we could handle at the time. My talent level as a host, it's not easy to control a room like that. You don't have a lot of jokes in the beginning, and the talent needs time to develop on other mics throughout the month. And to do a weekly show, it's very hard to come up with new material, especially for new comics.
How did you meet Rocky Mountain?
Rocky Mountain was known as the Canadian bar, basically. I'd hung out there a few times. The owner, Jamie, he's cool. His brother's actually a stand-up comic back in Canada, so I knew he kind of understood it a little bit. The room aesthetically was pretty cool for comedy. I talked to him about it, and he was really supportive, and we just went with it.
A couple of months later, I noticed open mic at Tony's.
Yeah.
Tell us, you just said, once a month, and because that's people, comedians need time to work on the material.
Right.
Then what about open mic every Wednesday?
Right. Well, then I met this guy Tony, Aussie Bar Bistro. Everybody calls it Tony's. He supports the arts a lot. He's a drummer. He's traveled around the world performing in bands and stuff. And he supports the arts. I told him about comedy. He has a nice little cozy room, and he said, "Yeah, let's do it on Wednesdays." So we started doing that. That was a weekly open mic. We started hosting that, and that's kind of our little workshop where we come and just work out our new material. And after literally only a few weeks, people started showing up, and every Wednesday the place is packed. It's great.
Great. So I heard you were a microphone whore, and proud of it. How did that happen?
Yeah, I'm a microphone whore. I just promised myself when I started I was going to get on every mic I could, no matter what, anywhere, MC anything, host everything, get on the mic. So since 2007, I've been averaging over 150 mics a year. So yeah, pretty much a microphone whore. That's with a full-time job, so that's pretty good.
That's cool. So you've been doing this for 5 years or so now. Tell us your worst gig ever and your best gig ever.
Worst gig, best gig. I know I've had some great gigs like in Singapore, Hong Kong. In Korea, I had two. Okay, I'll tell you my best and worst in Korea anyway. My best was I went down and do a show down in Suwon, which is a satellite city of Seoul. And we got down there late. There was no one really there. The crowd was late. It was for this particular group of people. The show didn't get started until almost 1 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, oh fuck, this is gonna be terrible. People are gonna be drunk. It's gonna be rowdy as shit. And then they showed up. There's only about 25 of them, and it was like one of the best shows. They loved it. I was on stage for 2 hours. I've never been on stage that long. They wouldn't let me go. It was awesome, and I just had a great time. They were awesome. So that was cool. My worst gig ever was I met this dude here who was at this event I was emceeing this event. I forget where he was from, but he was doing this. He was going around the world doing this show, the Passport Show. He was bringing awareness to like human trafficking and stuff, and he was just finding local artists to come on the mic and just talk and bring awareness to this cause. So he said, "Would you like to do a gig?" You know, I said, "Of course." Being a microphone whore, absolutely. Didn't really ask questions. I'm like, "Yes, there's a microphone. I'm there." I show up and they have a North Korean refugee speaking about all his experiences, like really hardcore shit, public executions and suicides and murder and all this crazy stuff that he saw, like, and it was being translated word for word, like horrific things, like real, too real. And then after that, right after he was finished, the guy gets up and goes, "You know, sometimes the world needs comedy. Everybody, Brian Aylward." And I had to follow this guy. It's fucking horrific, man. It's horrific. Yeah, not cool.
I know that working as a stand-up, working on your material is a vital habit to form. How did you learn your skills, develop your skills, and where do you get your materials from?
I just write all the time. I've been writing since high school. I have books and books and books, man. Most of it's shit, but some of it's pretty good. I just write all the time. I see something, I think about something, I just, you know, jot it down real quick, and then I go home later, and if I think it's worth pursuing, I'll just try to just freelance on it a bit. And just living life. I just live life to see what happens. Yeah, I have no real discipline to it.
How has living in Korea influenced your performances?
First of all, a lot of people think I'm in Korea and I'm over here talking to Koreans who can't understand what I'm doing, which is that's some ignorant shit, but it's mostly expat audiences. And what's great about Korea, what's really helped me, is if I was back in Canada or the States or whatever, most times you do open mics when you start out, you get 6 minutes, that's it, it's over. Here, I kind of ran my own rooms, found my own mics, so I was able to get 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, even when I couldn't handle it, but I still grew. You know, so I got like probably double or triple the stage time I would have had if I had been in Canada the past 2 years. So I think it helps me like that, just stage time. And also, it's very multicultural here in Central Seoul, so I get to bounce my jokes off different people from all around the world and see if they fit, and I probably wouldn't be able to do that if I was back on the east coast of Canada where I'm from.
Well, Brian, you've been here since 2005, and now you're leaving. How do you feel like you've changed as a person, as a professional? Like you're going back to Canada. Like, how do you feel personally?
I feel good. I mean, I put in my time. You know, I'm just ready to go. I put in my time. I got to do it now. Like I said, I spent 5 of the past 7 years here. That's a lot. You know, at the beginning of my 30s, I've all been in Asia, away from family and friends. It's just time to go home and do this and see where it takes me.
Do you feel like you've grown as a person, though?
Yeah, of course I've grown as a person. Physically, as you can tell, gained about 30 pounds, but yeah, you just grow, you just realize what you want, and I just realize who I am, and I'm just not apologizing for that anymore.